93-69 in 2022. NL Central champs, win total at BetMGM, 89 and a hook. To win the division, they're minus 125. To win the National League, 11-1. To win the World Series, 25-1. Paul Goldschmidt, the reigning MVP in the National League, 10-1 to win it again. Nolan Arenado, 12-1 to win it. Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, gone. Legends who retired in Cardinals uniforms, as they should have. And I think you said earlier that you like the Cards to win the division at minus 125. I think you're right.
I do. So I do like this because you look at the rest of the division and you could say, as I said before, there's value in the Brewers and looking at that team. But if you're looking at the most likely bet, I would go with the Cardinals all the way. If you look at the guys like Arenado, Goldschmidt, and their pitching roster, everything, lineup, everything, I would look at the Cardinals here just based on, as we said before, the Pirates, things like that. You look at the rest of the division and you think, how could it not be the Cardinals to win this division? So if you're going to be on the Cardinals, as you should be, I think, get on them now before their odds get better because they're only getting better.
Yeah, I think so too. And when you look at the rest of the competition in the division, like I understand the Brewers are certainly a threat. I get that with their pitching staff and Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and those guys, but they don't hit the ball. That's the thing, is that the Brewers, I feel like it's going to be the same story with the Brewers, and we've seen their odds fall a little bit since these futures came out, and I understand why. They made a few moves during the offseason, but the Brewers are a team, they're fascinating in that they hit a lot of home runs, but they don't do it with runners on base, whereas the Cardinals are much more able to manufacture runs. And when you look at their lineup, it's sort of interesting. I feel like the Cardinals, I don't think they're going to win the World Series. They're 25-1 again. But it's like they're a year or two away if they have some question marks. Their pitching staff is getting older, but these young bats that they have, these young players in their lineup are really interesting. Dylan Carlson, 24. Nolan Gorman, 23. Lars Nootbaar, 25. I was reading about Lars Nootbaar yesterday. He has gotten a lot better during the offseason. He has worked alongside Nolan Arenado, has calluses like all over his hands because he's been working so much and trying to increase his exit velocity. Refuses to join Twitter, so he gets a lot of blowback for that, which I think it's great that a 25-year-old says, no, I'm going to focus on baseball. But if some of these young guys can put it together, maybe ahead of schedule, then they're going to be really dangerous, that lineup is.
Right. And I think if Lars Nootbaar doesn't have to be on Twitter, he would be fine in the darkness retreat, because if you don't have to be on Twitter, then that is an anchor that you are just a weight off your shoulders for you. And you don't have to be connected to that. But what I love about this team too, is there's a lot of mentoring and menteeing here, because Lars Nootbaar is kind of like Goldschmidt's grand mentee, because Arenado looks up to Goldschmidt so much. And then Nootbaar looks up to Arenado, and then they just pass it along, and the younger guys learn from the veterans, and I like that system that they seem to have there. We're talking about vibes, we're talking about cohesion. I love that about this. And also he's on the all name team for sure, because Lars Nootbaar is one hell of a name. But I think that is it's a promising look at this team when they are all connected in that way and mentoring each other and helping each other, and they're all on the same page, all the same goal. I like that a lot.
Coming up in 10 minutes, Lucy, a look ahead to the weekend in college basketball, including a war in Waco between the Bears and the Longhorns. She is Lucy Burdge and Michael Jenkins. Don't forget the BetQL Network is streamed live nationwide on the Odyssey app and on BetQL.com. When you look at St. Louis's rotation, these are not fireballers. These are not guys that are going to step up on the mound and blow you away. Adam Wainwright threw 191 innings at age 40 last year. Miles Michaelis tossed 200-plus innings at age 33. So, look, they're not old, but certainly when you're talking about Wainwright in particular, been around the block a few times. Can they get this much production from these guys again? I think that's the one thing that makes me worry just a little bit.
Yes, and when it comes to the question of can they hit to 400 innings, can you get 400 innings out of these guys? I think they can get to the cusp of it, because especially when you have this stacked, dangerous lineup that can provide run support, for them. They can last longer in games if they choose to do so. I know pitchers are not lasting as long in games anymore, risking injury, all of that. But I think they can get these innings out of them. Wainwright is the one that I would be more iffy about, just because his numbers are lower when it comes to going over 200, say. But I think most of those would come from Mikolas here. I think 200 plus innings at age 33. I would say they would be right on the edge of 400, if not just to go over that, especially with this lineup.
And they had, and it's a good rotation. Yeah, they've got Dakota Hudson, Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty. So Ryan Helsey's going to be back and was very good. 19 saves last season to go along with 13 strikeouts per 9 innings. So a very high average there. I was looking at the younger guys in the lineup that we were talking about, and I wanted to go back to this. Dylan Carlson, outfielder for the Cardinals, just 24. And during spring training, he's trying sports glasses to help with vision and with dryness. And I know you, as someone who deals with dry eyes, I've had surgery on my eyes before. I'll be interested to see if this actually works. But I like that he's trying something different, because little things like this may seem like nothing, but can be a huge help.
Everything that your eyesight, I have found, if your eyes are dry, talking about everything being connected, sometimes when my eyes are dry, I have the impression that I'm tired when I'm really not, because it's just like my eyes want to be closed. So you feel like you're tired. Then you put eye drops in and you're like, actually, this is like a cup of coffee for your eyes, because then, or for your whole body, because then you wake up and you're like, actually, I'm not that tired. So if you can use sports glasses, drop that link to the sports glasses, because if I want to play a pickup game of basketball, if I want to do swimming or something, I need sports glasses, because where do you buy sport? I need these sports glasses. Dylan Carlson, please be an ambassador of them, because us people who need eye help need all the help we can get.
I'm glad they've evolved too. A buddy of mine wore rec specs. I don't know if you remember those, which I think stands for recreational spectacles, and those things were, they did not look great.